Here's a 30-minute crash course into Adobe Premiere Pro. This is a little mini course that's within my big Adobe Premiere Pro masterclass that's over 15 hours long if you want to take that. But if you're here just to get the basics, learn how to start making videos, keep watching. I will include a discounted link below in the description if you are interested in taking my full class. Either way, enjoy. Now, what I'm going to do over the next 30 minutes or so is show you how to quickly edit a video in Premiere Pro. I'm going to cover all of these things that you see here in this checklist in a very brief manner. Now, this might not be for everyone watching this course. If you want to go through each step in more detail, learn all of the different processes and options and the reason behind we're choosing things and more advanced skills, I'm going to cover that in the rest of the course. What this lesson is meant to do is just get you, if you're interested, to be able to jump right into Premiere Pro and start making videos. All right, so to start out, you need to open Premiere Pro. You're going to get to a screen that looks something like this. Don't worry about anything else, just click New Project. Here, you're going to choose the name of your project. So I'm going to call this Crash Course, and you choose where you want to save it. I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now. Don't worry about anything else, just click OK. Now it's going to open up Premiere Pro. To get onto the same page, because yours probably doesn't look like this, go to Window, Workspaces, Editing. And also, if yours still doesn't look like this for some reason, go to Window, Workspaces, Reset to Saved Layout. All right, so now our windows should look exactly the same. Again, don't worry about anything other than what I'm showing you. We will cover everything else later on in the course. The first thing you need to do is bring your media into Premiere Pro. That is your video clips, your audio clips, music, graphics, everything else. The easiest way to do that is just to simply drag and drop a folder of files or individual files into project window. Each of these is a different window. Some of them have different panels behind them or different tabs. The project one is sort of where we organize our media. So I can simply drag my video folder in here. I can also drag my audio folder in here. And now it creates a folder structure based off of what my folder structure of my actual documents were on my computer. So it's brought in everything. If there was, for some reason, a file that can't be read, it's not a file for video editing or creating videos, it will not appear in here. The next thing we have to do is start an actual video or start what we'll call a sequence in Premiere Pro. A sequence is where we're going to be adding all of our video, making our adjustments, and all of those things. So what we want to do is open up our videos folder. I'm going to double click that and change the view of this to icon view. This gives me a preview of what the clips are, and so I could quickly see. You could also read the title if that helps too, or if that's easier in this list view. The video I'm looking for is talking head video, and I'm going to simply drag this onto this little sticky note button. It looks like a square with a little folded up corner. And what that's going to do is create a sequence. And you see over here now in our timeline, that's what this panel is called. Our timeline, we have this video, and it also previews up here in the program monitor. Press spacebar on your keyboard to play through this. You can also press this little play button, and it has a lot of other controls up here for your program monitor, and you could play it here. So this video clip was shot with a mirrorless camera, but the audio isn't that good. So what I'm going to do is add the good audio to this video. Another thing you'll notice too before we do that though is I have this little file. It looks like a file. This is a sequence here in this folder. Because I dragged the video clip into the new item button, it creates that sequence for us, and that's represented here. If I go back to my master tab for my project, because when I double clicked videos, it opens up this other videos tab, I can go in and I'm actually going to find that talking head video sequence, and you can see the icon is different from videos and sequences. I'm going to drag it to the left so it comes out of that videos folder. See? All right, so now I mentioned my good talking head audio. So that's here under my audio folder right there. Over here on the timeline, just a quick overview. On the top, you have your video tracks. On the bottom, you have your audio tracks. You see V1, 2, 3. Those are different video tracks, meaning you can layer videos on top of each other, and the same for audio. So what I'm going to do is take this audio, drag it down, and you can see now when I drag it, this is just audio, so it's only going to appear in the bottom half of this timeline. I can put it on one of these tracks. So I'm going to just drop it there. Now you should see your waveforms. That's what these little bumps are right here. That's representing audio right there visually for us. To see those better, you can double click in this little blank area right here, and that increases the size of the track so you can see it better. You can also do that up here in the video track to see your video thumbnails. Now, if your thumbnails don't look like that, or you don't see your thumbnails, click the wrench icon right here and make sure the show video thumbnails is on. Also, click this little hamburger button, the 3 lines right there, and make sure it says continuous video thumbnails. Yours might be set to just video head thumbnails, which is perfectly fine too. It just shows one thumbnail at the very beginning of the clip. All right, so now we have good audio, we have bad audio, but if we play through this, it's all jumbled because it's not timed right. Delicious bread right in your own kitchen. So to sync this up, the easiest way to sync 2 clips is to select both of them by clicking and dragging over them, and see how that's highlighted now. Right click and choose synchronize. Make sure the audio is selected, or this option, and click OK. It's going to process it, and you can see that it nudged the video clip over just a little bit, and now I could play it. In this video, I'll show you and it's pretty close to being perfectly synchronized. Sometimes it doesn't perfectly sync up, so what I might need to do is nudge this clip 1 frame forward or backwards, 1 frame of video. And so the way I can do that here on my timeline, and I could zoom in by pressing the plus and minus keys on my keyboard, or by taking this little slider bar and taking the handle at the end and dragging in or out. So I can move this 1 frame at a time by clicking and dragging over to the left, but that's a little bit difficult to do 1 frame at a time. So the other option is to use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge by holding the command key if you're on a Mac, control if you're on a PC, and with the command key selected, press the arrow key left to nudge it 1 frame left, or right to nudge it 1 frame right. And now if we do that, we can actually even see, if I open up this waveform right here and zoom in, we can kind of see that the waveforms don't match up perfectly. This, if I nudge it to the right, it looks like it matches up better and it's going to sound better. Are you ready to make delicious? That sounds like it's synced better. All right, so a bit about editing our audio and clips on our timeline, because now we have this footage synced up. What if I want to just get rid of this bad audio? Well, to do that, if I click on it, what happens is it's linked to our video. So if I try to delete it by pressing the delete key, it's going to delete both the video and the audio. So I'm going to undo that. To just select the audio, hold the Option key on your keyboard. That's on a Mac. It will be Alt for a PC. and click the bad audio that we want to get rid of and delete it. Now, I want the beginning of this good audio to match up with the beginning of my talking head clip. So what I'm going to do is hover my mouse over the edge of the talking head audio, click and drag until it matches up. And I'm actually going to move this audio up to track 1, so it's right there. So now if I play this through, it's just the good audio. Are you ready to make delicious bread? Looks good, sounds good, great. If we want to link these clips up, what you can do is select both of them, press Command if you're on a Mac, and then L. Or if you're on a PC, that would be Control L. Or right click and choose link or unlink. So if it was unlinked, you would select both, select right click, and then link. And so now if I click one, it selects both. And the reason we would want to do that is because now if we go in and we edit the ends of a clip, or if we want to take out a segment from the middle, we can do that as well. And it's going to happen to both the audio and video. To make a cut, we can use the razor tool or the keyboard shortcut C on our keyboard. Take that tool and then wherever you want on your timeline, you can make a cut. Or this is what's called the playhead, and this is what I've been clicking to scrub through my timeline. Sourdough. Or you can play through, and then if you have your razor tool, it kind of snaps to that playhead, and you can make a cut there. And then if you want to adjust these clips after the fact, we got to get out of the razor clip. So let's click the selection tool, which is V on your keyboard. And that's sort of your main tool for just clicking around and things. It's your standard tool that you're going to be using. So say we just want to get rid of this clip, delete it, and then we can take this other clip and move it forward. So that's how you basically make quick edits. Again, there's more tools and ways to be even more efficient that we'll cover in the extended version of this course. Let's take some music. In any of these clips, if you want to preview it before bringing it to your timeline, you can double click it and it's going to open up in the source monitor up here. And you can play it. You could scrub through the timeline up here. Let's open up a video up here so you can see. And this is great because we can preview our video up here. We can go through it, and if we like it, we can then bring this down onto our timeline. So first, let's pick a song. So if we pick this one, Fluty Jazz. That's a fun song. We're just going to click this button right here, which is for audio, and drag it down onto our track 2 underneath our talking. Okay? So now we have music and talking. Are you ready to make delicious? But that audio sounds a little too loud. So to adjust the levels of audio, the quickest way to do it is to take this line right here that appears if you have this track open like this, click and drag down. It's saying negative 14.9 dB, and it goes lower and lower and lower. dB stands for decibels, and decibels is the representation of the strength of our audio. And so by decreasing by a certain decibel, it's decreasing the audio level, or the loudness, basically. Delicious bread right in your own kitchen. In this video, I'll show you. So now it sounds pretty good, maybe a little bit quiet. The exact steps to making your first. So that's pretty good. All right, so back to the source monitor up here, this tab. If I open up a video clip, whether it's from this main project folder or from the bin right here, and say I want to preview it this way, I have all of this footage, and I'll call this footage B-roll because this is the supplementary footage, that's what B-roll is, that you put over another video to give a visual example of what we're talking about. So this could be for a promotional video. It could be for a documentary where someone is talking. This is me. And then I'm talking about bread, so I want to show some footage of what I'm talking about. That's B-roll. A-roll would be your main footage, your interview or whatever, an event. Maybe you're recording a live event. Your A-roll is your main shot. Your B-roll is your supplementary shots. So say I want to bring this clip onto my timeline. I could do that straight from the project folder or this bin by clicking and dragging this clip onto my timeline. Now notice I have to put it on a different track or it's going to cover up and delete my existing talking head footage. So say I just put it right there. It goes on track 1 for video and audio and it removes my talking head video. So I don't want to do that. If I want to put it on track 2, what happens is now it's going to put the video on track 2, which is great, but then it cuts out my audio, my music rather. So there's a couple quick ways to fix this. One is by opening it up in my source monitor and then choosing the drag video option. So now it just brings the video down and not the audio. Or I can actually lock tracks. And so say I lock my music track and my talking track, and then I take this clip and bring it on to my timeline. See how the audio jumps down to track 3? And that's because the other tracks are locked. So it's like, well, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the next track that's available. Okay. So that's how you can make sure you bring footage onto your timeline without messing up your other footage. But another thing you might do is you want to preview your footage and make sure you're taking the right part of that shot. You don't necessarily want to bring the entire shot onto your timeline. So say I want to take this shot, but just from when I'm opening the pot right here, I could take this whole clip down onto my timeline and then edit it by editing the ends, dragging the beginning and the end. Your first sourdough bread loaf. So I'm just getting that part of the shot. Or you can do that ahead of time by going up here in your source monitor. And what you do is you put an in and an out point. To do that, use the I and O keyboard shortcuts. I for in, go through where you want to end the shot, right there. O for out. And now this highlighted selection is what we're going to bring onto our timeline. So if I drag the video only again, now that part of the shot. That sounds good to you? Let's keep going. And only that part of the shot appears here in our video now. So that's how you bring footage down onto your timeline. So typically what you would be doing is adding a bunch of video. Let's just quickly add a couple other shots just so we have an example. Set the in point, out point, and bring that down. We'll do one more. Here's another one of me scoring the loaf. Here are my kids in the background of that shot. Bring it down. And now the cool thing, if we open up this track 2 for video, I can see what the clips are, so I can preview them and say, okay, wait a second, I'm cutting the loaf here, but that happens before this shot where I'm revealing the already baked loaf, so I can just move these clips around the timeline. I can select multiple, drag them around, all kinds of things. You can move everything with your selection tool. Now be careful though, because now with audio track 1's locked, if I try to move my talking head video, it's going to move the video, which is going to make it out of sync with the audio. So I want to make sure that I toggle off track lock. So now if I move my talking head video, the audio moves with it. All right, so now you know how to add clips to your timeline, how to edit them around. The next would be some basic, more advanced adjustments and effects. So say we want to add a transition between two shots, you can go to your effects panel. If you don't see that, go up to window and make sure effects is checked on. And we have a video transitions folder. So if we want a typical fade to black, dissolve, we can take this dip to black. And notice I click and drag and drop it in between two clips or where two clips are meeting or at the beginning of a clip. So if I do it in between these two clips, now I'm gonna zoom in on the timeline so I can see it a little bit better. You keep watching this video. See how that fades to black? We have a fade to white. All right, I'll leave it up to you. Pretty cool. We can make these slower or faster by clicking the ends of this little transition that's now on our timeline and extending it to make it longer, or clicking and dragging in to make it shorter. If that sounds good to you, keep watching this video. Cool, right? So that's transitions. There's all sorts of other effects in here as well under video effects, and to apply them, you just basically find the one that you want. Let's find stylize. Let's go onto a clip that we want to adjust, and let's just take brush strokes and apply it onto our clip. And now it looks like I have brush strokes on me. Now, most of these effects have some sort of property that you might want to change about it. So let me actually go and show you how to do that. That all happens in our effect control panel. So if I have this clip selected, all of the effects that I've applied to this clip appear here. And other properties of this clip also show up here, like the scale, which is the size of your video, which now I can zoom in or out with the scale property. The position, I can move to the left or right. So maybe I want to zoom in and put myself on the left side of the frame a little bit. I could do something like that. Rotation, opacity, that's sort of fades it so that it's more opaque or less opaque, all sorts of things. But down below, we see the brush stroke effect. So here I can change the brush size, all sorts of properties for these effects. To delete an effect, just simply select it up here and press delete. Also, you can preview it on and off by hitting this toggle effect on or off button to see what it was like before or after. So that's how you apply and adjust effects, and that's also how you can set the properties up here. You'll also notice that here's another property for volume. So here's another way to increase or decrease the volume level of your clip. Speaking of audio, there are some really cool ways to quickly improve the sound of your audio. We do that with a panel called Essential Sound. So if you have this panel opened, and you can see that as I'm opening panels, I'm actually readjusting the size of panels. You do that just by clicking the edge of a panel and moving it around. If I have a clip selected or multiple clips selected, we now have options in our Essential Sound panel. So for all of my talking head audio, maybe I want to do some sort of effect or try to make it sound better. We click and choose what type of audio it is, which is dialogue. It's not music, a sound effect, or ambiance, which is just sort of your background noise. It's dialogue. And now with this dialogue option open, we have all sorts of effects that we can apply to this audio. We can match the loudness so that all of the clip that I have selected will have the same level audio from one video to the next. We can repair it by reducing background noise, we can reduce reverb, and we can adjust the amount and the strength of these effects or these repairs that I'm doing with these sliders. We can add EQ, which can make our voice sound different, like we're locked in a trunk, like we are more of a podcast voice. Vocal presence is a typical one that improves the sound of a voice, makes it clearer to hear and understand. And you can adjust the strength of these effects here. So all kinds of different ways to adjust your sound here. In this video, I'll show you the exact steps. Another panel that I want to show you is the Lumetri color panel. This is how you do basic color correction and grading. So when you open that up, it might look like this, or have your basic correction open. Again, you want to have one clip selected this time so that it appears here and you can make adjustments. And you see all of these sliders for things like white balance or color temperature. So if we want to warm up our shot, if we want to make it brighter or darker, or if we want to just make parts of our shot brighter or darker, we can take the shadows, which is the darker parts, and bring those down by clicking and dragging this slider to the left. We can increase the highlights to make our shot a little bit more contrasty. We can take our saturation slider, drag it all the way left to make it black and white, because we've reduced our saturation, the color of our video, from 100 to 0, or you can boost it to make it super colorful. There's lots of other tabs here that we'll cover in the extended version of the class, but this is how you do color correction and grading. Color correction, just for a quick definition, is more how you fix poorly shot video. Color grading is more about giving a style to it. So that's Lumetri Color. Then the last panel I want to show you is the Essential Graphics panel. This is how we add title cards. Within Premiere Pro, you might have some templates for title cards that are here under this Browse tab. I'm going to skip that for now and just click Edit. And here I can either add a title to this video by clicking this New Item button right here, or I can even go down and click the Type tool down here. These are all my tools, and click onto my video in the program monitor and start typing. So I'll type my name. So now I have my name here, and if I get back to my selection tool, I can move my name around the frame, the text layer around the frame. I can also use the tools here in the Essential Graphics panel to do things like centering my text if that's what I want. I can change the size. I can change the opacity here. I could change the font. So maybe I want something a little bit more whimsical and fun. You change all of your text styles, the color here. So we want it to be neon teal. All of your text adjustments are here. And now we have this clip that appears on our timeline, which is this text layer. We can move this around to a different part of my video if we want it to appear earlier on. And we can apply a quick transition. So to apply a quick transition, just a fade on or fade off or a dissolve on, all you have to do is press Command D while you have your clip selected. And that applies the default transition, which is cross dissolve. So now it just fades on and off. Your own kitchen. In this video, I'll show you the. If you don't press Command D, which is for Mac, it would be Control D for PC, or right click on the edge of a clip and choose Apply Default Transition. But I hope that you start using keyboard shortcuts as you learn Premiere Pro, because it's the best way to make you a more efficient editor. So now you know pretty much how to put together a video. You know how to add clips to your timeline, edit them. You know how to make audio adjustments, fix color correction, and add style to your video. You know how to add a graphic and move it around. Of course, there's so much more that goes into making a video and to making this a polished video, and that's what we're going to cover throughout the full Premiere Pro course. But at this point, you know a lot about how to put together a basic video, and the next thing you need to do is just export it. So what we need to do to export your video or to save it as a file that you can upload online is we have to set the beginning and end of where we want to export. Because right now we have this song that goes through all the way on my timeline to like 4 minutes or so, 3 minutes. And our video is really just at the beginning. So if we just want to export the part where I'm talking, we again put an in and an out point. So we go to the very beginning of our clip. And a quick tip on how to get to the very beginning of a clip is to press the up or down button on our keyboard and press I to set your in, and then go to the end of your clip and press O. So now we're going to export this entire video right here, this highlighted part of my timeline. The quickest way to export is just to click this quick export button. You choose the location and name by clicking this right here. You choose a preset for the quality. I suggest the match source adaptive high bitrate, which will match the size and resolution and frame rate, all of the different settings of the footage that you've shot and are using on this timeline. Or if you have a specific resolution you need, you have 4 options here: 4K, 1080p, which is standard HD, and those are likely going to be the ones that you want to use unless you want like a smaller version for some reason. So this footage was shot in 1080p, so I'm going to choose that one. It gives you a preview of the size and all of the settings here, and then you just click export. So now it exports to our desktop. We have this talking head video that we can take. We can share it with the world. We can upload it on social media, put it on YouTube, wherever you want. And we did that in about 30 minutes or so, right? All right. Well, this has been a great crash course. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot. Now's the time to start practicing or to continue with the course where we're going to go through each element and aspect of video editing in much more depth so that you have complete control and understanding and confidence using Premiere Pro. All right, we'll see you in the next lessons, and as always, have a beautiful day.